Before I hop into the review, I thought it would be a good idea to give you guys context or a trailer. So I have inserted a trailer clip from where the channel Film Select, and I hope you enjoy it and it gives you context and inspires you to go see the movie.
We shall go on to the end. We shall never surrender.
Welcome back to my channel. Something new that I hope to continue doing are these 12-minute movie reviews. And today I will be reviewing Dunkirk, which I have seen 4 times, which I don't know whether that makes me crazy or just super into it, but I'm gonna kind of give you a lowdown on what made the movie so exciting for me generally and then specifically. So Dunkirk is the remarkable story of, I guess, a World War II British evacuation from Dunkirk Beach. There were 400,000 men, and the opposing force, the Germans and their allies, were closing in, and the British needed to go, and I think the French too, but the movie focuses in on the British story and the experience. And that's where the movie begins, or that's basically the story that the movie is on. So it's a pretty intense situation, and in the end, 300,000 men out of the 400,000 men are evacuated miraculously because of the help of none other than British civilians. Not, I guess, the military forces or the Navy forces or the government, but the civilians. I understand that I'm not shading the British government, it's just that when you're in a world war, you have to be able to delegate resources, sometimes there's a change of power, and so on and so forth. So long story short, it's a World War II movie, it's an intense situation, and that's what the movie is on. So I could not compliment Christopher Nolan anymore on this piece of work. I loved everything about it. Like, as somebody who does videos and shoots their own content and edits their own content, seeing the level or somebody like Christopher Nolan and them being at an expert level is great. The camera shots, like the overhead shots, the I guess drone shots of the landscape were great as well. The colors just popped. Whether it was I guess the blues of the ocean and the white of the Dorset cliffs, or the human carnage slash ships blowing up in fire, every color just was eye-catching and helped to keep your focus in. There was not one color that I can think of that just didn't work. And those are just menial things, or minor things rather. And then as we go on, I like that the script was lean. It's not a lot of dialogue. That makes sense for a war movie. And it helped with focus. I mean, dialogue can really make or break the movie, but in this case, just Christopher Nolan being Christopher Nolan, the creative decisions, the type of story, it helped keep me focused, and it helped me almost put myself in that situation, and be transported to that world even though I wasn't there. So not having so much dialogue that I guess contributes to a separate world, but having all these sensory experiences, like the Spitfires and the sound in IMAX, and I guess the things that were going on, the back-to-back-to-back action, helped you keep very present, because they're stimulating senses that I didn't even think could be stimulated before seeing this movie. So beyond just the horror and seeing the horror, your heart is beating because of the music and the situations, and then the loud noises catch you off guard, and like that was literally me the whole entire movie, and it was great. It helped a lot with the movie, and it's why I've seen it 4 times like a crazy person. But that is what was so exciting and really created and contributed to the whole movie experience, keeping you in it while also reminding you it's I guess a work of art or cinema, and that was great. So cinematically it's good. In terms of actors, there was a mix of like heavyweights and newcomers, and I actually have IMDb pulled up. The main character, Finn Whitehead, Tommy, is the character Tommy, or the main actor is the character Tommy. They don't really give you names, but because IMDb, they kind of help you go on. And then we move on to Aniron Bernard, and his name is Gibson. Barry Keoghan, who's on the civilian ship, George Mills. Mark Rylance, who's an Oscar winner. Mr. Dawson on the civilian boat. Tom Glencarney, who plays Peter, which is Mr. Dawson's son, on the civilian boat, on their way to help those at Dunkirk. Tom Hardy, which is the fighter pilot farrier. Jack Loudon, which is another fighter pilot called Collins. And then Cillian Murphy, who is the part of the Shivering Soldier, and he ends up on the civilian boat, and he's just a heavyweight, really. There's Kenneth Branagh, who's Commander Bolton. Harry Styles, of course, which he was, alongside Tommy and Gibson, and just a lot of great actors, both that we are familiar with and unfamiliar with. And I felt like that contributed to the movie being so great, because I didn't know who Finn Whitehead was before this. So I was sitting here like, oh my god, like, what's gonna happen? Like, I don't know who this is. But I was scared for him. So that was like an interesting thing. And it's always great getting new talent, because that means more TV shows and movies that I can watch. And then, yeah, that's what they did. Like, I thought they were great in the movie. Because it's a lean script, a lot of it was just playing off of the real fighter pilots and ships that were going down, and being able to convey such great emotions facially. So they did that. I enjoyed it. There was not one person that I thought messed it up, in a sense. So that is great. And then in terms of music, oh my gosh, how could I forget? I think the person who did the score was, or who did it, his name is Hans Zimmer, and he's pretty famous for doing a lot of movies throughout, and I can see why. I mean, already the way, I guess, the plot, which there really isn't, but the just back-to-back sequence of actions is amazing. And I just appreciated that, just because it added to the anxiety of the situation. Naturally, because there are loud sounds going off, you're seeing all these horrors, it draws your attention in and makes you scared, and then the shots are contributing. Like, for example, that overhead shot I was talking about. So when they're, spoiler alert, but when they're trying to evacuate the mole, get on the ships, that way they can go to home, England. When they're dropping the bombs, you feel this just intense, I don't know, anxiety, because the overhead shot, you just feel like something's looming over your head. Clearly, that's the point. And you feel so exposed. Like, at one point I was like, where do you, like, you want to cover yourself, and then in the movie you see all of these young viable men running in a number of directions, but it's kind of like dark humor, because it's kind of like, it's kind of funny to watch people scramble, but it's also not funny at all, because they're going to, funny is not the right word, but it's like, I don't know, it's kind of like, I don't know, with the effort, like in terms of effort, like, is it worth it? Because it's just such an amazing, or not amazing, powerful force, and they're trying to avoid it, but it's like, where do you go in that situation? You're so exposed. So that's what I meant. There's nothing funny about the situation. It's just kind of like sad, especially watching it from the viewer's perspective, because it's like, how are they going to avoid this? Like, there's no way where to go, as I just said. So that's interesting, because it brings you into their perspective and their feeling, and you feel like you're experiencing it too a little bit. So that's what was great. And that was, I guess, what I liked about the movie. I don't want to give too much away, but what I will say is it was great at making me think. I have a very analytical mind, or I just overthink, let's be honest here. So there was a lot of stuff to pick apart, and every time I went to the movies or to see the movie, there was something new, especially the first time, because I'm so like jumpy and not into war films. It was kind of hard to focus, but every time I went, it was great. Not in this sense that the material is great, but it's a great piece of cinema commemorating such an intense piece of history and an intense event. So I enjoyed it quite a bit. It made me think. I was literally having an existential crisis in the middle of the movie theater. I was like, why are people so mean to each other? Like, this is all in vain. You're sent out, young viable men, essentially to die. Why? For what? For what? For money, power, to conquer the world? I don't know. But it's also funny, because the counter to that is, just as I guess your country has a responsibility to protecting young men who could do great things, if you're being attacked, if your country's being attacked, again, you have a responsibility to protect your citizens, and they have to do that by fighting, which is so unfortunate, but it just is what it is. In the spirit of the 12 minutes, my camera shut off on me. But all I wanted to say is that Christopher Nolan did a great job capturing the horrors of war without overdoing it. He simply just brought to light, or actually not even brought to light, he lets you experience it, or get as close as you can to experiencing a situation like that. And it was heart-wrenching, you felt uncomfortable, and at many points you questioned, what is the point of war? Why are we doing this to each other? But then, like I said, it brought up some essential questions of, you have a duty to protect your country, protect its citizens, and war seems to be the cost, which was just super frustrating. Also, I felt like there were a lot of allusions to other works of film and literature. Now, mine's not too expansive, but I have taken a couple literature courses, and there were parts or scenes that were reminiscent of The Awakening. Just like, I don't want to reveal too much, but kind of Edna going off to sea and just dying. That's really sad and really dark, but it is. And then also, it's funny because there was this contrast between beauty and man-made horror. I was shook. Like I said, the filter was beautiful and complemented every color, but, just as it's complementing the beautiful blues of the ocean, it's also complementing the inferno that is burning human bodies in that movie, and probably in the real life event. So that's very dark, but it just goes to show, I feel like how much effort Christopher Nolan put into this movie. I don't want to speak on it too long because it's supposed to be 12 minutes. This will probably be a 14-minute movie review by the time I finish editing and you finish watching. I hope to do more. If you would like more thoughts, I can just attach this literary event thing I wrote or little review I wrote after I saw the movie. So I can leave that below. I hope to do more of these movie reviews, and I hope you go see this movie in particular. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it just because I love the movie so much. I'm getting a poster for my room. Ew. And if you enjoyed this, I would appreciate it if you could share and like and subscribe. And more importantly, go see that movie because I just made a whole video about it. Anyways, enjoy your day. Bye.